I told you 6:30.
I told you come back. That I like the little footnote at the end. At least they weren't throwing bricks at bulletproof glass.
Well, that was another guy. Yeah. I didn't get to share his story because you know why? I've actually seen that too many times for it.
Is that the one of the brick hits him in the head when he throws it?
And he passes out.
Yeah, they come in and catch him. Yeah.
And that's the quickest karma I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, that's instant karma. That's no waiting around. We got to run a break, and when we come back, we're going to tackle the strange case that is Andrew Hardman. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If you can hear me, then you have an internet connection, which means you can do cool things online, like listen to streaming radio, obviously, or watch a video of a monkey washing a cat. Let your freak flag fly. Or you can book a room at a great price at Motel6.com. Isn't the internet wonderful? Everything you want right at your fingertips, and whoa, did not need to see that. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. I paid more than the minimum each month, and soon enough, it was gone.
So you're just giving up?
Giving up on what?
The life of luxury. Egyptian cotton, caviar Thursdays, designer everything.
What are you talking about?
Our plan. What happened to winning the lottery and mastering the art of the perfect mimosa? Hosting galas, wearing enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacationing in the French Riviera, and then buying it.
I just thought maybe it was time to prepare for my future. You know, set some financial goals, make some smart investments, open a 401k.
Financial goals? Investments? A 401k? You are horrifying right now. Listen, if winning the lottery were easy, everyone would do it.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
So me and the boys head out to tailgate today and find some other fans in our spot.
Well, it happens.
Cheering for the wrong team.
Oh, this is war.
Even worse, they've got this couch set up and everything.
A couch?
Yeah, it's sectional.
All right, first thing, don't ever use the word sectional again.
Done.
Second, I want you to grab a 4,700-pound tow chain with J-hook and grab hammer. Throw that on the back of your truck.
Got it.
Now you're going to Hail Mary the J-hook over the end of that couch. Time to find a better spot for your new friends.
That should do it.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the wacky waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the wacky waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Green light. Hey, girl. School zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to After Hours AM, the Criminal Code, everybody. I'm your host, Joe Sturgis, right along with me.
Eric Olson and
Dr. Clarissa Cole.
Dr. Cole, I know we have a strange case, and I read through it, and it's really, even by our standards, quite odd. And so I'm going to step aside, let Eric do the intro, and then you're going to take us through the whole tale. It's really weird. Like I said, even by our standards. Wow.
This is a lean case, so I don't have all that much to say anyway. But The spooky crimes of October continue on After Hours AM, The Criminal Code. And don't forget, my friends, we're on True Crime every Wednesday night, 9 to 11 Eastern, with you have just heard from, Joel Sturgis, Eric Olson, and our secret weapon forensic psychologist, Dr. Clarissa Cole, with an examination of 17-year-old killer vampire boy Matthew Hardman, led by none other than Dr. Cole. We stake the vampire as all of our interview or spotlight cases occur at 10 o'clock. And, of course, from 9 to 10, we review, as we just did, the true crime headlines. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Cole. This is the case of the vampire killer. I think that's ambiguous. It sounds like he's going around killing vampires. I prefer
vampire hunter.
I prefer killer vampire boy.
Yes, that does roll off the tongue.
Thank you. All right, Clarissa, I turn it over to you.
All right, this is back in 2002, I believe. His name is Matthew Hardman, and he was only 17 at the time in Britain, living in a small community in North Wales. And what's interesting to me about him is that he doesn't have the troubled upbringing that a lot of people do that commit violence later in life. He had a fairly normal upbringing. He was a paper boy from ages 13 through 17. He was, quote, remarkably normal, doing well in school, working jobs. And he even had a girlfriend, which of sorts, a German 16-year-old girl, like a foreign exchange student, whom he met with every now and then. But unbeknownst to pretty much everybody, he developed sort of a fascination. And before I really get into what that was about, Eric, I know, well, Joel, you also have some other kids that are a bit older. Like, Eric, have you noticed your kids like really getting into something when they're in their adolescence? Like they're just deep into some subject or another?
Oh, sure. I think my son, both younger kids. The older kids, it's kind of a different era because they're so much older. Certainly for a while, my oldest son, he was into baseball really deeply. He was a huge Ken Griffey Jr. fan and Seattle Mariners fan. I mean, he was obsessive for a while. He kind of is a kind of guy, now he's 31 years old, who kind of goes from topic to topic and really dives deeply into it and then kind of moves on. The one he stayed with, of course, is his profession and his fascination with archaeology, which is kind of a combination of history and mankind and psychology, and it's lots of things. Literature all go together. Physical science. He had to become a diver because he wanted to be a maritime archaeologist, which is what he is, or a marine archaeologist, which he is. So he had to pick up some skills along the way in order to do that. As far as the younger kids go, I mean, they've both been so wrapped up in music and performing, so singing and acting kind of really their whole lives. So I guess that would be their obsessions that Lily now is in college for. She's in the acting program at University of Cincinnati. And I would be, honestly, at this point, pretty surprised if Alex does not follow in her footsteps. Not that he is a slavish copier at all. His style is really quite different. And they're actually kind of better at different things. So it's not a case of, sometimes you might wonder, is he just copying? Is he just following? But no, he's very much his own guy. But the two of them, the two younger ones, certainly their obsessions have been with singing and acting and I suppose performing in general.
My daughter's is really easy. By the way, my little girl, princesses. That's it. Sleeping Beauty, Ariel, you name it. She's obsessed with Disney princesses. That's where she's at in life.
And that's, I want to say that that's really a part of normal development, right? Because a kid's world, especially when they're much younger, like Joel, you're talking about in the younger years, like her life is really circumscribed to what you and your wife do and what you guys are into and what you let her be exposed to. She doesn't get to be exposed to the entire world yet. And like Eric, your kids are a bit older where they can be exposed to these other things. But I think it's really normal for a teen to get really into something. Like, I'm trying to think of okay, so I was really into theater as well when I was a teenager. Like that was my thing. Do you have anything that you guys would admit to that you were really into?
Oh, let's see. When I was a young kid, I used to love, and back in the 80s, this is a little more acceptable than it is. I guess it's not that bad now. I was huge into professional wrestling, man. I loved Hulk Hogan.
What's wrong with that?
I loved Hulk Hogan, man. I loved him. I loved all that stuff. In fact, I used to go, I'd say about every other weekend, whenever they come up to the WWF, or back then WWF, but down WWE shows, my dad would take me, and he hated wrestling. But he would sit there, and I'd be, oh my God, we're going to go to wrestling. And I was 17, and I ran into a guy named Ken Patera. Does anyone remember him? He was an Olympian wrestler, right?
Oh, wow.
And he ran, my dad knew him. He was from the area, and they knew each other. And he was, and he ran something called the AWA, American Wrestling Alliance. I'm sure you guys have heard that one, right? Baron Von Raschke, the Crusher, right? Those iconic guys. Well, I wanted to be a wrestler at that point in my life because I'd been exposed to it. Dad, I want to go. I walked in. There was a Sunday morning. I'll never forget this. It was a Sunday morning, and the newspapers passed his eyes, and I walk in, and I was saying, I want to do Mom and Dad. Well, my mom's like, well, what do you want to do? I want to be a pro wrestler. My father's
very practical.
Yes, exactly. My father's, the paper slowly creeped below his eye line. And he killed me with one word: no. And it went right back up. Right back up. But there's a school. and I really want to go, but it's 500 miles away, and I need your permission to be able to go. And of course, the paper comes back down, and he says, you're going to get a real job. Goes right back up. That
settled that.
That settled it. You're going to college. That settled it. You're going to go to college. That was it.
Wow.
That was it.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
What
about you, Eric? Was there anything that you?
I had a period. I was younger. I was probably between, let's say, I don't know, maybe 8 and about 12, where I was just obsessed with the Southern California professional sports teams. It wasn't even so much the sports themselves. It was those teams. So way back, this shows how old I am, it was the Rams.
Sure. And they're back in LA, by the way.
They are.
Yeah.
The first time around, it was the LA Rams, and it was the Lakers, and it was the Dodgers. To a lesser extent, the Angels. I was always much more of a Dodger fan. So it was kind of everything about them and the magic, like their colors, it was magic. And when we would go to games, I definitely went to more baseball than anything else, of those three sports. And I would just pour over the program. And as if any of the companies that advertised in that program were somehow special because you're
in the program. You're special.
So I was really, and I had uniforms, I was never particularly good at football. I was okay at basketball. I was good at baseball. So that's the one I ended up sticking with the longest. And I was a left-handed pitcher, so I was completely obsessed with Sandy Koufax. Still am. He's still my favorite baseball player ever. So that was one period. Then when I got a little bit older, I got an electric guitar for Christmas when I was 13.
And that changed everything.
Man, did I throw myself into that. I just was so into music, and I wanted to learn the songs and play the songs. And I worked really pretty hard at it. It took me a while to figure out how. I thought, well, you just go out and buy the books, right? You buy the song books. That's how you learn it. You buy the music. No, you got to learn to play it by ear in rock and pop music. Sure, you can get the chords and you can get information, but that's not really how it's played. So I had to learn all that. It did kind of change. I did stay always a really big baseball fan, and still am, for that matter. Sports in general, love the Olympics and all that. I'm still kind of, I'm a little iffy on football. I know you guys are huge NFL fans, but I'm in the middle on that. And over the years, probably because the Cavaliers with LeBron became so good, I became a really big NBA fan again after lying dormant from, way, way back when I was a huge Lakers fan. So